There's a dangerous misunderstanding about Stoicism that keeps good people stuck in bad situations. Many believe Stoicism means being patient, forgiving, and endlessly tolerant. Always calm, always understanding, always the bigger person. But that belief quietly destroys self-respect. Stoicism was never about being nice. It was never about absorbing disrespect with a smile. And it was never about giving people unlimited access to your life just because they apologize. In fact, Stoic philosophy was built for moments like this, when your kindness starts to feel like self-betrayal, when forgiveness becomes a trap, and when staying feels harder than walking away. The Stoics understood something most people avoid. Compassion without judgment is weakness. Forgiveness without boundaries is self-harm. Stoicism does not ask, "How do I keep the peace?" It asks, "What preserves my character?" And those are very different questions. Stoic standard, character over emotion. Stoicism sets a standard most people quietly avoid. It does not ask how you feel in the moment. It asks who you are choosing to trust with your life. Emotions are loud. They pull you toward guilt, nostalgia, and hope. They remind you of who someone used to be, not who they consistently are. Stoic judgment is colder and far more accurate. It looks at patterns, not promises, choices, not apologies, character, not chemistry. A second chance is not an act of kindness. It is a moral decision with consequences. You are not rewarding effort. You are granting access. The Stoics understood this clearly. People do not change because you feel more, and they change only when their character demands it. That is why a Stoic does not ask, "Do I still care?" He asks, "Is this person safe for my future?" Emotion fades. Character remains. Person 1. The repeated disrespecter. This is not someone who didn't know better. This is someone who knew your boundary and crossed it anyway. They interrupt you, mock you, dismiss your concerns, or minimize what matters to you. When confronted, they apologize. They sound sincere, and then they do it again. That repetition is the truth. Stoicism makes a sharp distinction here. A mistake happens once. Disrespect repeats by choice. Each second chance teaches them something dangerous, that your limits are negotiable and your self-respect is flexible. Over time, the disrespect escalates, not because they are cruel, but because you have made it safe. A Stoic does not argue with repeated disrespect. He does not explain it again. He changes access. Distance is not punishment. It is clarity. Person 2, the one who betrayed trust. Knowingly. Trust is not a feeling. It is an agreement, silent but binding. This person didn't act in confusion or ignorance. They knew what they were risking. They understood the consequences, and they chose themselves anyway. That choice matters more than any apology that comes after. Stoicism is unforgiving toward conscious betrayal, not because it breeds anger, but because it respects reality. Someone who can violate trust once with full awareness has already revealed a dangerous part of their character. A second chance here is not mercy. It is exposure. You are not teaching them forgiveness. You are teaching yourself to ignore evidence. A Stoic may release resentment, but he never forgets information. Peace is not built on hope. It is built on discernment. Person 3. The guilt manipulator. This person never forces you directly. They don't raise their voice. They don't demand. Instead, they make you feel wrong for having boundaries. They remind you of sacrifices. They recall old favors. They question your loyalty, your gratitude, your character, and slowly, your no turns into explanations, then apologies. Stoicism sees guilt for what it is here, a tool, not love, not concern, control. When guilt is used to override your limits, respect is already gone. Giving this person a second chance does not restore peace. It tightens the leash. A Stoic understands a hard truth. Any relationship that requires guilt to survive is already broken. You don't need to justify your boundaries. You need to protect them. Person 4, the one who never takes responsibility. This person always has an explanation, a reason, someone else to blame. When things go wrong, it's never their fault. It's the timing, the pressure, the misunderstanding, you. An apology may appear, but responsibility never does. Stoicism is ruthless about this pattern. Without ownership, there is no change, and without change, a second chance is just a replay. Words without accountability are noise. Regret without correction is performance. A Stoic does not look for remorse in tone or tears. He looks for ownership in action. If someone cannot say, "I chose this and I was wrong," they are not ready for trust. They are rehearsing the same mistake with better excuses. Clarity demands distance, not hope. Person 5. The one who resents your growth. This person was comfortable with you when you were smaller, more available, easier to influence. But when you grow, when you become calmer, more disciplined, more self-directed, something shifts. Your boundaries irritate them. Your silence feels threatening. Your progress makes them uneasy. They don't celebrate your growth. They question it, mock it, or label it as arrogance, coldness, or betrayal. Stoicism treats this as a serious warning. Anyone who resents your evolution is attached to your limitations. Giving them a second chance is not generosity. It is permission to be pulled backward. A Stoic chooses alignment over history. He does not shrink to preserve comfort. Growth changes access, and that is not cruelty. Forgiveness versus access. Stoicism draws a line most people blur. Forgiveness is internal. Access is external. You can release anger without reopening the door. You can let go of resentment without inviting chaos back into your life. These are not contradictions. They are maturity. Forgiveness frees your mind. Access shapes your future. When people confuse the two, they trap themselves. They believe peace requires proximity and healing requires reconciliation. Stoicism rejects that lie. The Stoics never taught emotional exposure. They taught emotional control. You forgive so you are no longer chained to the past. You limit access so the past cannot repeat itself. A Stoic does not punish. He protects. You don't need hatred to walk away. You need clarity. That is the difference between wisdom and weakness. You don't need to hate anyone. You don't need to explain your decision, and you don't need closure to move forward. Stoic strength is quiet because it is certain. It does not argue, it does not defend itself, it simply withdraws from what no longer aligns. Walking away is not bitterness, it is discernment in action. It is the moment you choose character over comfort and clarity over attachment. Most people stay because leaving feels cruel. The Stoic leaves because staying would be dishonest. When you protect your peace, you are not punishing others. You are honoring your own values. This is what quiet authority looks like. No announcements, no revenge, no explanations. Just a calm refusal to repeat the same lesson twice.